Daniel, welcome to the Personal Best podcast.
Thank you.
How are you doing, first of all?
I'm great. I'm living the dream. First sober Paddy's Day yesterday, so we're a changed man.
Wow.
I know. Am I
course.
feeling okay?
Yeah, I didn't have a sober Paddy's Day.
Oh, did you not?
No.
So someone had to carry the flag. Someone had to do it.
It's fine. We're thriving.
No, I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. It's really nice to have you on because I know this has come about a bit last minute. You were like, I'm in London. I was like, great, let's record a podcast.
Yeah, it was like 2 days ago.
Yeah. So it's really great to have you in the studio. So first of all, I like to ask people to do a little personal intro for everyone listening. Where are you from? What do you do? That kind of thing.
I'm from Northern Ireland, baby.
If you can't
so
tell.
From yeah. If you can't tell, so if you need, you'll need subtitles for this episode because people might mistake me for talking Mandarin. Yeah, I'm not a bilingual king. So I'm from Belfast. I am an online fitness coach. I have been for 2 years. I love a sunrise. I love a sea dip. I love a flat white, or I call it a Let's Go espresso. So we'll get you on that. And I feel like I have a new zest for life that I've found in the past couple of years that I once didn't have. And a big part of why I do what I do and the message that I share is to show people, there's so much more to this world out there.
Absolutely.
And we should be so much more grateful for what we have, because I was someone that used to not be like that. So, I feel like I've got that energy and the zest for life because I want to share that, and I want other people to feel it. So,
sure.
And you'll see, if you ever see my videos coming out of the sea, you'll be like, I want to of this guy's on crack. But again, you go to Ireland, you will see, I've been to Dubai, I've been to Maldives, and when I come back home, I'm so grateful and appreciative of that. So, what I do is to spread that message of gratitude, and I want people to be the best version of themselves, that personal best. You know what I'm saying?
Best. I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. And yeah, when I came across your content, I was instantly like drawn to your videos. Like someone's, shouting you through the screen, like, get up, you woke up today. All this like positive motivational content, which I just love. And I hope that we can like go through some of that today. But first I want to take it back a little bit. Let's dive straight in the deep end. So you mentioned that you didn't used to, have this lust for life that you maybe do now. And I saw in some content that you were reflecting on like the past version of you. And you said that Daniel in 2019 was anxious and depressed and stressed out and a bit lost in life. So how did you go from that position to where you are now?
I was living my life through other people and outsourcing that validation to the world. When I was younger, my neighbor, he was a pilot. I thought that was incredible. I wanted a bit of that. And when I went through school, I had no struggle. I had a fantastic childhood, Ruby. Honestly, the best parents ever. Incredible role models. Had a really happy childhood. Played sport, no issues at school. And when I got to the end of my years in school, coming up to A levels, I found partying, I found drinking. I worked in Topshop, and I was more interested in the social side of what was going on in life. I wasn't interested in academia whatsoever.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, my focus shifted away from what was probably important at the time to having a good time, letting it rip. So that's why we're having the sober parties now. But yeah, for the first time, I actually did not excel. I had that stumbling block at my A levels because I actually, being truthfully honest, my mum will love hearing this. She used to go off to work and on study leave back in May. Every single year, I'm sure as you understand, back in May in the UK, when everyone's on study leave and you're studying for exams, the weather decides to bang.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I would have went down to the off license and got cans, like Copperbergs, and sat in the sun, music blast and drinking. I was having the time of my life. I didn't care for school, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. Came to A levels, failed them. That was that. And I left school. My friends went off to uni. And for the first time, people were saying, oh, you're stupid, you're an idiot. And, these things, they're off the cuff.
Yeah.
But for someone that had never any issue growing up, I never had anyone bully me. I had it really comfortable. I was wrapped in cotton wool. It was the first time that started to get to me. I put that to one side. I worked in Topshop, had the time of my life, and I then realized, there's an opportunity here where I could go to flight school. I don't need to have a uni qualification to go there. And so I applied, went down, done my interview, moved to Dublin. I'm going to be a pilot.
Yeah.
This is incredible. And now, back from here, I was at a low point. And if we look at society, people that are going to university, this is how I viewed it back then. If you're going to university, you're superior. I was inferior. That's how I felt. So that now put me back higher up in the social ranking. And this is how, I'm telling you, this is how it was conceptualized in my head at the time. People spoke to me about pilot school. They spoke about what it was like. Oh my God, they loved it. Anybody that's met me, they spoke about flight school. And this inflated my ego so much. And, I'm okay to say that now, looking back.
Sure.
I was such an insecure kid. And when I look back at that now, I wish I could just go back and shake Daniel. I suppose that's the beauty of hindsight. And I loved the idea of it. But I didn't love pilot school itself. I didn't love the career that all the other boys in my class were aspiring to pursue. That didn't give me that excitement that they were getting. And I thought, oh, something's up here. Something's wrong. I'm not feeling what they're feeling. I don't understand what I don't get that. But again, it taught me hard work. It taught me discipline. I moved down to Dublin, and for the first time, I, again, went on a social media detox Monday to Friday. I would have had no socials, and I would have got up early, studied relentlessly like there was no tomorrow. But then I would have came home at the weekends and partied a lot. So ultimately, what led me to that position, that low moment that you spoke about, was partying every single weekend. And I also was pursuing a career with a big financial commitment.
Yeah.
That I didn't want to go down. I also tied my validation to this. And if I lose flight school, I lose that validation from other people. So I was caught in between a rock and a hard place. What do I do here? One thing led to the other. I didn't speak to anybody about it. Didn't speak to my friends, my family, my girlfriend at the time. Didn't speak to anybody. I put that face on, the confident, happy, go lucky Daniel. But you can only do that for so long. When there's a gap between who you are and what you portray to the world, that starts to eat away at you until there's not much left. And it got to that position where in November of 2019, I tried to take my own life, and I woke up the next morning in a hospital bed with my mom and dad at either side. And I can talk about that now, I'm very open talking about that. And it was like somebody just burst a bubble. There's no more secret. I didn't have to pretend any longer. And that was publicly humiliating as well, because I went missing. The police put it out on their social media. It was shared thousands of times. So this guy that everyone thought is really confident, he's got everything going for him.
Yeah.
Hold on, there's something wrong. Why is he going missing? What's happening in here? And that was hard. Yeah. That was hard. Yeah. And I remember my mom and dad telling me, Daniel, we're not going to give your phone just yet, because this has actually been. It's gone further than the family, outside of the family. So I didn't know at the time, and when they told me, I had a heart attack.
Oh my God.
But it was like somebody burst a bubble. And, upon reflection, that was day zero. That was day zero. And that was a struggle back then, but there's so much beauty in the struggle, but you can only see the beauty upon reflection. And without that hardship, I wouldn't be here talking to you about that. I wouldn't be talking on Instagram, spreading that message. I wouldn't be coaching guys and girls and impacting their lives, getting the incredible opportunity to do that. If that horrible incident didn't happen, and that hardship, that was a gift. That was a gift, man. And sometimes you have to go through the ringer to get to a better place. You have to take a step back to where you want to go.
Definitely.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. And at the time, I didn't I didn't think that was part of the journey. I thought this is a horrendous side effect. My life is completely off track. But now I look back and, you know, that was just another level. That was just one step of the journey that needed to happen. It was a difficult level, but it needed to happen. And I always see it like a slingshot. You know, you pull the slingshot back, you pull it back until there's loads of tension, and then you let it go. And that was the catalyst. And we look at that hardship in anyone's life. Quite often it's the catalyst to become stronger. You know, the more hurt you are, the stronger you become. And I'm sure, again, going through, like, listen to some of your stuff as well, that, you know, you've gone through serious hardship. And I'm sure you're stronger off the back of it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Because I think it's quite easy for people to look at your content or look at anyone's content and think, oh, who's this person telling me to, you know, get up and seize the day and that I've only got one life to live. And it's like, well, the reason you're giving that message is because you had to have that realization yourself. What is it they say that, like, you get 2 lives, your life, and then the second one starts when you realize you've only got one?
Yeah.
And that's like the catalyst you're talking about, is like, okay, I get one life, I get one shot at this, so I'm gonna make the most of it. And obviously you went through a stage of, you know, going through the motions and doing the flight school and going out with your friends, but that wasn't you living your life to the fullest, would you say? Like, that wasn't you being your true self in a way?
Yeah. I didn't know what my true self was, and I think that's part
that's true.
I think that's part of the struggle for people, because they don't have a North Star. There's never a strong pull towards personal development. There's never a strong pull towards parking those unhealthy habits, because, well, where am I going? So again, what's the point in getting in the car if you don't even know where you're going?
Yeah.
There's no strong desire to do so. So a lot of that comes from either one, figuring out what that North Star actually is. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to look like? What do you want to feel like? What do you want to stand for? Or on the flip side of it, do I want to continue feeling how I feel now? The hurt that I'm in right now, am I okay with that? And, you know, if we continue to do the healthy habit, if we continue with those unhealthy habits, maybe the answer is yes. It doesn't hurt enough. It doesn't hurt just enough. And that's an honest conversation that we need to have with ourselves, that I've hesitated putting out in social media, because it can appear patronizing to say that when you're not in somebody else's situation.
Yeah, 100%. And it's very easy to say to someone, you know, give up the 9 to 5 and, you know, go and travel and live freely when that person's also got a mortgage and kids and a busy life. Like, it's very difficult, but I completely understand what you're saying there. And there's so much I want to get into, because, again, like, the messages you share on social media, I just think they're so powerful and a lot more people need to hear them. So
thank you.
I've been going through your Instagram. I've picked out some things that I think are really good. So let's riff back and forth with a few of them. So the first one is, when you do easy things, your life will be hard. When you do hard things, your life will be easy. What do you mean by that?
I've lived that for the past 3 years. Back when I was in flight school, back when I was in my partying days, if I felt tired, I stayed in bed. If I wanted to eat junk food, I ate junk food. If I wanted alcohol, I was having it. You know, if I wanted to party and I wanted drugs, we were getting on it. I always fell victim to that hedonic lifestyle and to the quick gratification of it. But I was borrowing contentment. I was borrowing happiness from following days. And again, it's what is intelligence? It's rate of learning, right? It's, you put your hand in the fire. Oh, it burns. If you put your hand in the fire again, you clearly didn't learn the first time. I had burnt my hand off by the end of it, but I then learned this isn't serving me. And then I had to ask myself the question, when I really wanted to improve, when I really wanted to make a better life for myself, what makes me feel good now? Do more of that. What makes me feel worse after it? do more of that. Do less of that, sorry.
Yeah.
Do less of it.
Yeah.
And quite quickly came to the conclusion that if we're doing things that are easy, if we're staying in bed, we're breaking promises to ourselves. We're breaking trust in our word and who we really are. That's okay now. That's fine now. When you don't go to the gym because you're tired, that's fine now. When you have the junk food or the takeaway, that's okay now. What about when hardship gets thrown your way? What about when real hardship gets thrown your way? What about when you get a knock on your door and a loved one's passed away and you have to stand up and be man of the house? Are you going to sink or are you going to swim? Because in my opinion, the only thing that's going to allow me to swim are those healthy habits that I had instilled before. So they don't actually matter back then. They don't actually matter in the moment, but they're serving that future self.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I quickly realized going to the gym when you don't want to, getting up when you're tired, going for the run when you don't want to go, you feel incredible afterwards. You know that. And if I can drill that into every single person, I know the world is going to be a better place, because we're going to do more difficult things. And when you do difficult things, of course, your life is easier down the line. And it goes back to that mental frame of choosing your suffer, as David Goggins would talk about.
Definitely.
You either choose the short-term comfort of sleeping in, eating shit food, not going to the gym, but you suffer down the line by not loving what you see in the mirror.
Yeah, and not being happy with the person you're becoming.
And on the flip side of that, you choose to suffer now. You do things that you don't want to do, and your life's going to be so much easier, because what happens when you do those things? What happens when you go to the gym? You feel more confident in who you are. You build trust in yourself. You like what you see when you take your top off. You look in the mirror and you think, fuck yeah, that's me. And that's a good thing, because why do we not want to be more confident? Why do we not want to look better? Why do we not want to feel better in who we are and feel healthier? Because ultimately we get one crack at this, and it goes back to that saying, treat your body like a house you have to live in for 70 years. And I'm getting that maintenance done on the regular, baby.
Exactly.
So it's so important that we can, again, my clients, I would always drill that into us. We operate out of vision and not circumstance. Because when we operate out of circumstance, we're operating out of emotion. We're not operating with conviction. And what happens when we operate out of emotion? I believe that I want to bridge the gap between, you shouldn't feel emotions, you should just push on and do it anyway, and you should be emotional. I want to bridge that. Why can there not be a middle ground there and be the guy that can go and do difficult things, but the guy that can feel the emotions, that can dance with the emotions, but can still do it anyway?
Yeah, definitely.
We don't need to disregard emotion, because at the end of the day, what's life without that? What's life without stress, without anxiety, without worry? Because that's what makes those good times fantastic.
Yeah, there's so much I want to unpack from that. And I think this idea has actually been a really common theme with most of the guests I've spoken to, because all of them who are achieving great things, whether it's pushing themselves physically or they've done great in business and any of that, they've learned to embrace delayed gratification rather than binge on those immediate pleasures that you're talking about, like lying in and eating junk food and skipping the gym. But I'm also aware that delayed gratification in the extreme results in no gratification.
For sure.
So how do you find the balance, like doing the hard things but still enjoying day to day?
Absolutely. That's been a struggle of mine.
Yeah.
It's been a struggle of mine, and it's something that in the past year, past 8 months, that, I've became a lot better at winding down, at switching off. Because the man that's the most disciplined, the most resilient, the most disciplined man, in my opinion, will be as unhappy as the man floating aimlessly throughout life with no purpose.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So what's the point then? But that's the question. What's the point in being here if you're living the same level of contentment as the man over here, or as the woman?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to operate with vision and not circumstance. But that doesn't mean, of course, we want to live for our future self. It doesn't mean we can't enjoy the present moment as well. And I look at myself as, and my clients, anybody I speak with, as a Formula One car. And, you know, if you don't, what happens with a Formula One car? If you don't take a pit stop and you keep going, you're going to get out ahead. You're going to be winning the race, but eventually, sooner or later, the tires are going to wear. You're going to slow down, right? So we need to take the pit stop. That might be going to get a massage. Great. That might be going for a wee spa day. I love a spa day. I love it. And my girlfriend, my girlfriend over in London, she's like, you're going on a spa day on your own. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm living the dream. Sitting there, kicking the feet up, getting a nice podcast on, the best. And if that's going for, like, again, every single Saturday, I would go with my mates, we'd go for a sea dip, or we would go into a waterfall, we jump off a bridge for the right reasons, and we go for coffee afterwards, we have the crack. You know, we're doing things which we enjoy. It doesn't need, like, again, we went out and had a beer the other night. It was great. I loved it. Had a pizza and a beer. It was brilliant. It doesn't need to be all or nothing, because I would rather be 7 out of 10 and know that this is going to sustain for the rest of my life than a 10 out of 10 for 2 months, because I know
burn yourself into the ground.
You've probably gone through that as well. On that self-development grind. Have you, where you've been all and there's been no nothing, you've just been all and there's been no fun?
And I think my antidote to that, and it's something you've shared so we can talk about it, is treat yourself like someone you're responsible for looking after. And that's how I kind of deal with it now. Whereas, so if I was looking after someone else and they were really run down and really burnt out, and for whatever reasons, I'm not going to be like, you're pathetic, get yourself in the gym. I'd be like, you know what, take it easy tonight, get a good 8 hours sleep, and we'll tackle this shit tomorrow. Like, that's kind of how I'm dealing with it now. It's
a powerful frame. There's this idea of Solomon's paradox, and it's where we're much better at helping other people than we are with ourselves.
Yes.
And there was this 2014 study where it also showed that giving advice in the third person, it detaches the detachment from ourselves. It yields the same objectivity. So, okay, great. If we're unsure of what to do, I always say, well, what advice would I give to Harley, my best friend? What advice would I give to Peter? Apply that to myself. Again, when we have a problem, and for me, life was going too stale because I was only doing the personal development. I was only doing the bin dips. I was only doing the C dips. I was doing the running, nothing else. And it was, okay, plan the fun in so life doesn't go stale. That was a non-negotiable every single week. And I done a slag for Google Calendar, right, for scheduling my week, right? You'll know, any of my clients will be listening, like, this guy, shuts up, bro. But that's the first thing that gets planned in, is the fun. The first thing that gets planned in.
I like that, yeah. Because we forget that all the time.
You're 80 years old. You're sitting in the rocking chair. What did you get up to when you were younger? Like, tell me all the fun stories from when you were a kid.
I was in the gym every day, grinding.
Load of PBs, but that's it. I've nothing else to show for. I was jacked, and the Strava was banging. But aside from that,
no one's giving you kudos at the end of your life.
Absolutely no one. And again, it's that frame where you want to live a life that your 80-year-old version of you on the rocking chair with the wisdom would approve of, but also the 16-year-old you living carefree, having fun, and life's exciting. If you get the approval from both of those people. Yeah,
I heard this thing today, actually. I was scrolling on TikTok, and in amongst the crap videos, there is some good stuff. Yeah. There was a video, and this girl was saying that imagine if you get to the end and you greet God or whoever, and they show you the person you could have been.
Oh yeah.
They like slide you over a piece of paper and like, this is who you could have been if you'd made better decisions. And that just hit me. I was like, yeah, I don't want to get to the end and think, oh, I could have done more. I should have done this. I should have lived life differently. I should have lived life for myself.
It's like that quote where it says, true hell is when the person you are meets the person you could have been. Yes. And the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, you got me where it hurts. But it's so true. And something that I try and live and try and emulate. And if anybody watches my stories, they'll see I always talk about main character. Of course, the main character. You want to be the main character in your fucking story. You want to be that superhero. What would they be doing? Not every week needs to be Blockbuster to live a great life. Not every week needs to be cocktails on the beach to live an incredible life. But do something today that you're going to be able to look back and smile on. So the other day, I had a day to myself in London. I've been to London so many times, but I thought, I've got a free day. I've done my work. I'm going to get on that Lime bike and I'm going to fly about and live my main character day as if I'm in a music video. But I know people laugh at that, but I'm like, I'm going to look back at that. And I had an incredible day by myself and I loved it. On a Saturday, we would go and we jump off the bridge into the waterfall. That's something I'm going to look back and smile on when I'm older. I'm going to show my grandkids, look what I used to do back in the day. That's incredible. And like, realistically, all we have is the enjoyment of the present moment, or the memories that we've created. And if we're living the same life, we're going to work, we're going to the gym, we're going home, we're sleeping, all those memories will compress into one.
This is what I heard recently. Yeah.
And
so interesting.
How can we if all we have is the present moment and memories that we've created, you know, we're not going to have much if we just go to the gym and go home.
Definitely.
And have you experienced that before, where again you find yourself just doing the same things? Obviously, you came across it. What do you do to wind down? What do you do to enjoy yourself outside of that outside of the personal development, outside of the work, the gym that you're doing? And I think it's okay to amalgamate the both as well.
Yes,
it's a big thing. I've seen you've been out running with your friends. That looks fun.
That has been a big thing, actually. Has been making, because I love exercise. Like, fitness is a huge part of my life, but making it social means I get two benefits. Like I get the physical benefits of having a good workout, but also the social benefits of, you know, mingling with people, meeting new people, like sharing like stories and ideas, and I get so much from that. And like when I do come away from these run clubs or whatever, and people might look at it and think it's a bit silly, like, oh, who are these people running through central London?
I think it's class.
It's so good.
It looks
I
so
enjoy
fun.
it so much, and it feels like such a good use of my time as well. And doing this podcast, some people might think it's work, but I thoroughly enjoy like having these conversations like we are now. So that's obviously been such a good part of my life, and it feels like personal development at the same time. Like since I've started this podcast to now, I feel myself like blossoming, and that's genuinely just from having these inspiring conversations and learning from people, and also working on something that I'm passionate about. Like I love it.
That's class. It's also, you've made your life fun. You've made your life play. People don't procrastinate when they watch Netflix. Why? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
So how can we make our day-to-day more fun? If you don't have the luxury and the freedom of, all right, starting your own business, right? Again, I understand there's people have their objections to that. That's fine. I'm 25 years old. I have no kids. I work where I want. I understand that that's a liberty in saying that. And I understand that people listen to that with 3 or 4 kids might be thinking, oh, easy for you to say. I get that. But how can you make your life more fun? If you're going to the gym, it's very simple. I bogged it down to I looked at every single thing that I'd done in my life and I thought, how can I make this more fun? It's okay, when you go to the gym, make sure that you have an outfit that you feel unbelievable in. Make sure that playlist bangs. Make sure that you're training at a gym where you feel good. You feel uplifted and the energy is incredible.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're around people or you train with people that are electric and they bring you up and you leave the conversation feeling better, not worse.
Yes.
So if we can do that with everything, mastering the mundane, you sleep every day, you eat every day. If you're going to train every week, okay, let's make those fun, or let's get the benefit out of those as well. How can we master the mundane that we're doing every day?
I love that. And make it less of a slog. Like, doesn't, as what got asked recently on a Q&A episode, what's something that used to be difficult that's now a new norm or something like that? And my answer to that was waking up early. I used to hate it. Like, I've never been like someone who can lie until the late afternoon, but you know, I was quite comfortable with my like 8 a.m 9 a.m wake ups, and then I was
you an eye mask kind of girl. You look like an eye mask kind of girl.
No, I'm actually not, but I need darkness. Like, there's certain conditions to get a good night's sleep.
I don't mind an eye mask. I'm partial to an eye mask.
To an eye mask. But now I love it, like, because I've made, like you say, like, I've made it fun in a way. Yeah. I've made a routine that works for me. So now when I get up early and I, you know, it's 6, half 6, and now the sun's coming up outside. Like, I love it. I love starting the day like that. And that used to be such a chore. I was like, oh, how do people do it? And it's making it a habit that's enjoyable.
I love that. And how do people do it? Some people don't get to. When we frame it like that, wow, that was a big part of my journey and why I talk about
Yeah, I've
because
seen.
you get one life and you need to live it like there is zero tomorrow, because there was one day in my life where there was not going to be a tomorrow. In my head, that was the case. And when I woke up, that bubble had been burst. That was another crack at the whip. Great.
Yeah.
We're in Fergie time with another crack, and there's beauty in that. And there's nothing to lose then. You know, like, again, the fact that we aren't going to be around someday is license to live like you have nothing to lose.
Yeah. This
And
is deep stuff, Daniel. Deep stuff.
That's why I don't drink anymore. Because if you get me
Oh,
on
no.
a night out with a pint, your corner, you know when you get that guy in the bar and you're like, mate, you look over at your mate and you're like, come on here. He's flirting with you. No, we're just having a really deep talk about mindset.
I know. I love it. I love it though. And I just want to bring up something that you mentioned there, which is there's beauty in the struggle.
For sure.
And you said that, and you said, when I look back at my life, the moments I'm most grateful for are the moments where I struggled.
Absolutely. Because when have I learned the most? You know, what's made me content in who I am today, right? All of the lessons that I've obtained, obviously. Where have I obtained those lessons? On the good days? Where it's been sunshine and rainbows? No, of course not. On the days where it's been a struggle. On the days where my back's been against the ropes, where I thought, why is this happening to me? Why is this my life? Why am I pushing so hard? But on the other side of those days was a lesson that was going to make my life a lot better. And now, I think what makes me so much more content is the fact that I know when I go through struggle that I'm going to be better because of it.
Even when you're in like the midst of it.
Even when I'm in the midst of it, because again, obviously the world that we live in is 100% thought generated. In my opinion, it's 100% thought generated, and there's an infinite ability to reframe every single situation. That's been one of the biggest changes in my life.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, I understand that some things you just can't reframe, and there's this toxic positivity. I get that, and I don't believe the world is completely sunshine and rainbows. I don't think that's helpful to believe that either. Life is hard.
Yeah.
Life is difficult. Parts of life are shit. But it's life being shit that also makes those other things beautiful. And without that, who are we? If I look back at all of the struggles that I went through when I was 18, when I failed my levels, when I had to drop out of flight school because I tried to kill myself, when I tried to open a shop, tried to start a shoe business, and they all failed, I remove every single bit of that, and I remove who I am today, having this conversation with you. I would be a shell of myself.
Did you hear they did a study on people who have experienced all sorts of hardships in their life, and they asked people, okay, if you could remove that experience, but you also have to take away all the lessons you've learned along the way, it was something like 98% said they wouldn't get rid of what they'd gone through.
What does that teach us?
That we are the sum of our experiences, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And as long as you're like, as you are, you know, much happier in yourself and the way that life's going, in a way you're then grateful for the hardships. Yeah.
And I don't believe we need to be happy. I think that's a big misconception with the Instagram era and the TikTok era, that we need to be happy and living our best life all the time. Or let me reframe that. Rephrase that. It's not about not living your best life, but your best life doesn't need to look what everybody else's best life is. I used to think, this guy's 21 and he's got a Lamborghini. She's in the Maldives. He's having cocktails in Bali. I'm in Northern Ireland and it's raining and I don't know what I want to do with my life. But the difference is, it's not the world that we live in. It's how we frame the world that we live in. That's what's most important.
Yeah. Do you think it's about practicing gratitude?
Absolutely.
That reframes that?
If I ask you the question, What are you truly grateful for today? What would you say?
The fact I woke up, my health,
One more.
in a healthy body. I saw my mom today,
One more.
having food in the fridge.
Last one.
Sunny outside.
It's hard to be angry when you're
Yes.
grateful, right?
It is.
So how can we apply that to everyday life?
Mm.
It sounds wishy-washy. If 19-year-old Daniel was talking about what you're being grateful for, he would say, this guy is a virgin. Have a day off, mate. But that's what's good is available, but what's bad, they're both available, and what you focus
Yes.
on, you feel.
Yes.
I always say that your perspective is your power or your prison, and the beauty is that you have control of which one you want to choose.
Mm.
If you wake up and say today's going to be a great day, you're going to look for evidence to back that statement up. If you say this is shit, it's a Monday, can't wait for Friday already, you're going to walk outside and you're going to see it's raining and you're going to think, oh, this is shit. If you get a sandwich at the shop and it doesn't taste great, oh, this is awful sandwich. You're just looking for evidence to back that up.
You really are. Yeah, perspective is everything.
It's that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just emphasizing your point. I think it's so true. And I have some people in my life where I've noticed those kind of behaviors where if the train's late and then that makes them late for work, oh, for God's sake, I'm in such a bad mood now, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why are you letting the trains dictate your mood?
You don't have the facilities for that, big man.
You really don't.
Absolutely. It's the little things. Someone cuts you up on the motorway.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna see when I catch them. I'm gonna get them, but they may have a child in hospital, and they may need to get that hospital ASAP. We don't know why people act the way they do, and for me, I understand that not everybody thinks the way I think, and that's not a reason to have distaste towards them.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
And if I was that person, I would think the same thing as them because of the experiences that they've lived. And when I frame it like that, it allows me to accept everybody else and who they are. I understand that if someone's a serial killer, cross the line. That's a bit hard to reframe. But certain things, that brings me a lot more calm in my day. And again, it goes back to that you can still do difficult things and have that dog in you, and in my eyes be a weapon and an animal, and do difficult things and push the boundaries. But you can reframe and live a content and a happy life.
Yeah.
You know, because you can. It's what you choose. So what kind of life do you want to live? I don't want to live a life where cussing out every single day. And if you live in Northern Ireland and it's raining, you have two choices. You live with it and you live a shitty life, or you frame it differently. You know, like two people wake up. One person wakes up on a Monday. It's raining. Got to go to work. They might have had some bad news. Okay, I understand that. But the second person might wake up and they're just grateful to be alive because they understand that not everybody gets the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And they're thankful. Even if it's raining, they're thankful. Oh my God, I've got this job to go to.
Have you seen About Time, the film?
No. Tell me about it.
Oh, it's literally what you're explaining. It's such a good film.
Is it? Tell me about it.
It's a bit of a rom-com, but the guy realizes he has the power to go back in time. So he can redo events that have happened.
Ooh.
Anyway, there gets to a point in the film where if he goes back in time, he reverses the children that he had. So he doesn't end up having the same kids. So he kind of has to make a choice of like, fuck, do I keep going back in time or do I just live in the present? And so the end is like a message. And he says that I realize I don't have to go back in time. I just have to live each day as if it's like the second time I get to do it. And you notice the differences he makes in his decisions. So he like goes and gets a coffee. The first time he just ignores the barista, walks out. The second time he looks them in the eye. He's like, thanks, how are you? Have a good day.
No way.
a moment where his friend's celebrating, and the first time he just brushes it off, and the next he celebrates with him and they're hugging, and he does everything as if it's his second go round to get the best out of it.
What did you take from that?
Oh, I just cried. I was like, oh, so sad.
Oh, I've got nothing left.
No. But no, it
Brilliant,
was
I love that.
it was that exact thing to like appreciate all the little small things that are happening right now, because they're not going to happen again. So how do you want to frame things?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely.
It's good.
When I went to Bali in November, that really opened my eyes to it. You know, you were waking up, you were seeing builders working in jeans, flip-flops, sweating, doing 12, 14-hour days, laying bricks. Hi, sir. How are you? How's your day?
So friendly.
I couldn't get over it.
Yeah.
You walk about Liverpool Street. I say, all right, man. The first time I came here, people had said to me, people in London, and again, I don't believe that either, people in London aren't friendly. And I said, not on my watch. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. I'm going to say hello to everybody and see what. And then again, obviously some people just need to be provoked and say like, hello, how are you? And you know, it's just
takes people back.
But it's a different culture. I understand it's a different culture, and again, it depends what culture you want to live in and what world you want to live in. You know, and you could frame it like, oh, everyone here is nasty, or people are just going about their day. But we were in Bali. Hi, sir. How are you? And I had to ask them. I had to get it on film. I had to say, film. What am I in the 1940s? I had to get a video. Like, you guys are so happy. You're always smiling. Why is that? And one of the guys, he said to me, we're not born with a car. We're not born with clothes. We're not born with money. And we die without the car. We die without the clothes. And we die with no money. Life's about being happy. So smile. He said that. I was like, can I get that on video?
Can you do that again for video?
Yeah. Can we run that back? But it was incredible. And he said that. I was like, damn.
It's so true. It's so powerful.
Why do you think that is? The people are the way they are over there.
I don't know, but I really noticed it.
Have you been to Bali?
Yeah. And they're so grateful and appreciative. I was in, we were up near the mountains because we were doing Mount Batur, yeah. So we were staying somewhere so remote, and we were like, where can we get food? And then I was on Google Maps, found this like restaurant. It wasn't a restaurant, it was literally a family's back garden. And they were like, we'll cook dinner for you.
No
and
way.
I was a little bit tentative, I was a little bit skeptical, like, this could be a bit like dangerous. And it was so nice. He cooked us dinner. We watched the sunset together. They were so like grateful that we'd visited, and we had the most like beautiful time together. And it I don't know, it made me kind of believe in like the good in humanity. And I was like, wow, these people, I don't know, maybe they've just learned something that we haven't.
And what if we can bring that back? When I was in Wim Hof in Poland.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. You did the Wim Hof expedition recently.
All the love, all the power, baby. Wim Hof.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a man. He's an incredible guy. It was an incredible experience. Anyone that doesn't know, Wim Hof, he's crazy, man. He's insane. So Wim Hof is this Dutch guy, 65 years old, and he created the Wim Hof method, which incorporates breathing, breath work, and cold water exposure. Starts from a really sad story. When he was in his 40s in the Netherlands, he had 4 kids. His wife was suffering heavily from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and depression. Sadly, one day took her own life, jumping from 9 stories to her death. Wim was left with 4 kids.
Wow.
The pain that he felt, indescribable. And one day, on a winter's morning in the Netherlands, he was walking down a path in Amsterdam, and he looked at the icy water, and there was some sort of gravitational pull that he felt to get in the water. He no towel, no nothing. He took his clothes off and he got in, and he said for the first time, the pain from his wife's death, it was numb. And he had a breather for the first time. So he went back the next day and done again and again and again, and he kept doing it. So again, this movement started. He started incorporating the breath work, which again, if you've never done it, have you? You don't know Wim Hof breathing?
No.
We'll have to do it, right? It's insane. Again, 19-year-old Daniel, this guy's a virgin, right? That's the theme throughout this, okay? So we are two different people here.
He does weird breathing and he's grateful all the time. Oh, fucking weird.
Yeah, this guy, yeah, me sitting, it is crazy if you can watch back that lens. But Wim Hof is incredible. So he started this breathing method, was able to control his body, put himself into extreme temperatures, extreme conditions. He climbed Mount Everest with no shoes on and his shorts. He climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, which is a 7-day summit, in one day. It takes 7 days to acclimatize.
Yes, to the altitudes.
Done it in one day. Pretty sure it was 19 hours. He done a marathon through the Gobi Desert with no water. Sat in an ice bath, completely submerged up to his neck. It was 3 hours. All of these incredible challenges showing how powerful we are as humans, you know, and we are humans, so we're capable of doing incredible things. So that movement started. I found him 4 years ago. I was really struggling at the time. This is after I had gone through, after that attempt, I'd stopped taking drugs. I never touched a drug again, ever. I had the accountability of my family and my friends. I said, I'm never doing that. I'm never putting anyone through that again. Started training hard. I had an incredible coach. Dropped weight. Got into breathwork, meditation. And I had this friend and he said, oh, come on, we'll go to the sea for a swim. And I said, mate, it is February. Are you tapped? Who hurt you, bro? Who hurt you? And he said, no, come on. So I finally went. I said, right, I'm going to shut you up and we're going to go. So I went down and I'll never forget it. About half an hour from my house. The weather that day was wild. It was crazy. There was wind, rain, hailstones. We got onto the beach. I was shaking. I was like, are you serious? Are you sure about this? And he says, come on, mate, drop your shit and let's go. So we sprinted into the water. I'll never forget. As soon as I went in, that rush and that panic, the cold hit me. He said, focus on your breath. Look at me. Focus on your breath. Slow it down. Once I got my composure, I felt nothing. No pain, no nothing. I felt alive.
Yeah.
I felt in control. And we got out and I said, I want to go tomorrow. And again, we kept doing it. And again, I brought my dad, I brought my friends, and we'd done this thing. This was through COVID. We would have came like 7, 8 of us. My mum had an old people carrier. I used to do the rounds and pick all my mates up, and then we would go down, grab a coffee from the shop, go for a sea dip, and it was unbelievable at the time of my life.
Yeah.
But that's how it started. And then, of course, when I became a coach on the social media, that was a big part of that. But Wim Hof has this expedition in Poland every year where he invites people over to the mountains of Mount Śnieżka, it's called, to do breath work with the instructors, to do the cold water therapy, to climb the mountain in your shorts. This was the Champions League final of cold dips. This is the Catalina wine mixer. And I can't not go, so I thought I have to go. So we booked on. We went for a dip in the mountains in Ireland maybe 8 months ago. We had a coffee after and we said, let's do it. You know, when you have a few drinks and you're like, let's book on holiday. This is how much we were having a few coffees and we're like, let's go on to this breathwork retreat. Think how things have changed. Damn, virgin again.
I love it.
So we booked on 7 days in the mountains. Myself and 6 other guys, other coaches. I'd be very friendly with, incredible guys. And we went to Poland, and it was an incredible experience.
It was good.
Was it as difficult or as challenging as I thought it was going to be? No, but we'd done so much prep. I was going to Wim Hof as if I was going to die on the battlefield. I was like, I'm laying my life down. I'm going over the top here. But it gave me so much more purpose outside of my training, outside of work, that I had this challenge. And it's probably the same way that you would have marathon runners, that you have people doing ultras, even doing 5Ks. You're practicing for an event.
Yeah.
It gives you purpose. And the more you bleed in training, the less you bleed in battle. So I thought, great, we're going to put the reps in here. And that's all it is. Was I nervous rocking up to Wim Hof, even though I knew it was going to be a massive challenge? No, because there had been so many reps prior to that that it was now second nature to get into an ice bath for 15 minutes at 4:30 in the morning when it's freezing outside in the dark.
That's insane. But to get to yourself to that point is yeah, you've had to put the reps in.
Starting from 30 seconds in a shower, and that's the beauty of it. Starting from never doing it before, and it's such a great lesson that we can transfer to anything that we're doing. Start small. Too often we look at the mansion that we need to build. We look at the Mount Schneitske that we need to climb.
Yep.
What about looking at the first brick? What about looking at the first step? Can we take that? Yeah, we can. Great, then let's do that. Okay, can we copy and paste? Can we repeat that? Yeah, let's do it. And when sometimes we look at the massive dragon. What about the dragon in front of us that we scaled on the size Jordan Peterson talks about? Look at the dragon in front of you. Can you slay that? Okay, great. Then let's do that. So it started so small and built up to that. But it was more so of course, it wasn't as challenging as we thought because of the reps that we put in. It wasn't easy, but some of the people we met there were incredible, and it showed me how warm people can be. It showed me how much of a close connection you can build with someone in a short period of time.
That's
people
nice.
that we'd spoke with, that we met 24 hours before, opening up about really heavy stuff or really personal things, and the bond we built was incredible. And I thought, if we could bring that back home, if we could bring that home, that level of compassion to other people. You're standing at a coffee shop. Again, a prime example. I might not have done it before. I was standing in that coffee shop down the road there. Oh, it's a lovely place in here. How's your day been? That, years ago I just wouldn't have done. And because of that, in Poland, or because of that in times gone by beforehand, when we started these conversations, we've lifted our head from the phone and said, "Hey mate, how are you? How's your day going?" We've made incredible friendships off the back of that.
Yeah. And that's such a nice thing to have taken away, because you're not going to get everyone in an ice bath every time you meet them, but you can have you can have a genuine conversation with people and open up and be vulnerable, and I think that's amazing.
Have you experienced that where you found yourself stuck in the phone, you've stuck in the socials?
Yeah, I'm still working on it, to be honest. I'm still working on it.
What are you doing when you're working on it? I'd love to know. And I'm putting you on the spot here a lot today. Have you ever seen the Step Brothers? You ever seen Step Brothers?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to interview you.
I'm like, the questions are not normally coming back to me. I don't know, just going to stuff by myself, like events, run clubs, whatever.
You gone to those by yourself, did you?
Yeah, and I'm quite a confident person. Like, when people meet me, they don't think that I'm particularly introverted.
Yeah, for sure.
But put me in a room full of strangers, I still find it quite nerve-wracking. And it's purposely putting yourself in those slightly uncomfortable situations where I think you grow. And like at an event recently, I met a couple girls, so nice, got along so well. We were having such great conversation, and those are people that I want to meet again and interact with. But you have to go through that uncomfortable thing, and that is something that throwing it back to you now. That's something you said, that avoidance is maintenance.
Yeah, so avoidance maintains anxiety.
That's it. Avoidance maintains anxiety.
I don't want to go to the gym because I'm anxious. Okay. Is there any scenario where you avoid the gym and you become confident then? No. I don't want to start public speaking. I'm not confident enough. Does avoiding public speaking make you more confident? No, of course it doesn't. I was in a position 5 years ago where I couldn't sit in a room alone with my parents. I felt too uncomfortable because of the social anxiety. I couldn't speak with my friends unless I had a few drinks in me. I couldn't go into a shop. That was one of the lowest moments. I was sitting at my local shop outside in the car, and I just started crying because I couldn't go in. It was like somebody was standing on my chest with anxiety, sewed my mouth closed. What am I going to say? What if someone says something wrong? What if everything was, my mind was, it was a minefield. I felt like I had no control over the situation whatsoever. And to go from that place to September in 2023 there, delivering a seminar in front of 250 people on stage, that's proof that avoidance maintains anxiety.
Yeah.
I went to therapy quite a lot. I went to therapy a lot.
Yeah.
Had therapists, I had counselors, I had CBT, the lot. I'm very grateful that I had incredible parents that supported me on that. And the antidote to the social anxiety was what? Trying to be more social.
And starting small. Anxiety isn't something I've dealt with particularly, but I spoke with another guest called Sam, and he was really open, and he said at one point his goal was to go for a coffee on his own. He couldn't fathom how people were going and ordering a coffee and sitting in a shop by themselves, and he did it, and he hated it, and it was terrifying. Then he did it again and again and again, to the point where it's so normal. And I think it's so amazing. Like, everyone's going to be listening to this podcast and watching it and hearing you talk, and they probably would have no idea that you were once somebody who felt anxious and struggled to talk to people and was worried to, speak in front of people.
Terrified me. And
yeah,
one of the hardest things about that was in school, I was confident. Growing up, I was confident. My mum and dad gave me that. They told me there's nothing that you can't do, that you are a confident child, there's nothing that you can't achieve. And I went through my younger years believing, see, if I want to get up on stage and sing, I can do it. And I did it when I was in primary 7. Again, it was the confidence that my mum and dad gave me.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for that. Fun fact, told you earlier, I could sing. Voice of an angel here. It's a mixture between Fergie and Jesus. We done a High School Musical play when I was in P7, and I was Troy Bolton, shock, and didn't even second guess it doing the auditions, singing in front of hundreds of people. Didn't second guess it. But again, that was the confidence that my mum and dad had instilled in me. But it was the fact that I had something and I lost it. That was the worst part about it.
Interesting, yeah.
Because I knew I'm no longer that guy, and sometimes you have to burn to rise from the ashes like a phoenix, right?
Phoenix, yeah.
And it's okay to burn. But Renaissance, baby, with that rebirth.
Yeah.
And hopefully that does encourage people that, even if you're in a position where you do feel social anxious, you can get out from that. One of the things that really helps me is just actually taking a social media detox. I ask myself the question, okay, when do I feel most anxious? Number 1, after I've drank alcohol. If I've consumed a considerable amount of coffee, and I've scrolled excessively on social media. So how can we flip that on its head?
Do less of those things.
Less.
Yeah,
I'm going to be a less anxious individual. Okay,
yeah.
great. So leaning into that. So if there is something which you're feeling anxious about, how can we scale it down to size? If that's going to the gym, a lot of things are worse in our imagination, and we worry about things which will never come to fruition. So how can we trick our brain into getting there? How can we trick our brain into doing the difficult bit? Noted. Can you go to the gym and do 2 sets? After you've done 2 sets, if you want to leave, you can. Full permission. So now we've gone from slaying this huge dragon, full gym session, to can I get in the door and do 2 sets?
Yeah.
And I can leave if I want.
Yeah.
You'll get in there. You'll warm up. You start your first, second set. You'll get a pump on. You'll get a sweat on. Okay, I'm enjoying myself here. I'm feeling better. The confidence is building as the reps are progress. You're not gonna feel the way you were feeling after 2 sets.
And that's that thing that, we suffer more in our imagination. So you always think of the worst case scenario of like, oh my God, I'm going to go into the gym and I'm not going to know what I'm doing and everyone's going to stare at me and I'm going to fail my reps. But as soon as you kind of ease in, you're like, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, the reality is actually okay. And like you say, if you don't like it, then you can leave.
Exactly. And that's it. It's going into the ice every morning. My brother and I, we wake up. We have 2 bins side by side. And when I say bins, I actually mean like
wheelie
a
bins.
council
They're
wheelie
wheelie
bin,
bins, yeah.
trash can, as the Americans call it, man. Trash can. We get in at 4:30 in the morning beside each other in the dark, and we just sit and just chat shit in the bin. It's great.
I love it.
And when I was doing it on my own for a long time, you know, we didn't have the accountability of each other, like many people. Just go and do 5 seconds, Daniel. Scale the dragon down to size, the one that's in front of you. Just do 5 seconds. See, after 5, you can leave. Okay, great. I need to have a perfect week. Can you have a great day today? Can you look after your food and your training today? Can you do that for me? Okay, let's do it. What's the smallest thing that you can do to move forward today, which you know you can't fail at? Because when we feel overwhelmed, we just haven't scaled it down to size.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. There's so much I want to talk about, but I'm going to have to round this podcast up. So I'll ask you the last question that I ask every guest. If you had to give one piece of advice, you could share a quote or a mantra to help people achieve their personal best, what would it be?
Never suppress who you are for fear of looking uncool. Your superpower is that you are one of one. You're limited edition.
It's
And
personal.
you should never shy away from that. And the mere fact that we won't be here forever is all the evidence you need to start the business, to wear the outfit, to speak to the girl, to live without a care in the world about other people, because that time will come where you'll look back and you'll reflect on your life. And whether it's with nostalgia or regret, it's down to what you do now, down to what you do today. And that's not a burden, that's a liberty. So you get one crack at the whip, so go and live it.
That's powerful stuff. And as a wise man once said,
let's go, baby!
Yeah. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where can people go if they want to find you or inquire about coaching?
Daniel Dargan on any social media platform. And that's it.
Perfect. And they can find your coaching through that.
Link in bio, baby. Link in
Nice.
bio.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this. And I think people are going to take so much away. So I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Big love for listening. Get yourself to Belfast for a wee Let's Go Espresso and a sea dip. Thank you.
Thank you very much.